Hello there, welcome to video 3 of this 3-part session. So we are now looking at resolving shame. So far we've looked at how toxic shame is passed through the generations, how it piles one generation upon the next. And if you haven't already, remember to do the exercise that's part of this course. Please do the exercise before you move on to the meditation, which I will run over at the end of this session, but please do remember to do the exercise before the meditation, because then you will get the absolute best from the process and you'll bring to the surface the things that want to shift and want to move as far as the toxic shame vibration is concerned. So we've also looked at what's normal, what's safe. Now it's a case of starting the process of releasing that stored toxic shame. To begin that process, it's about going back to the very core. Okay, it's about going right back to that very core, that core vibration, the core starting point as far as that's concerned. So what's that? What is that? Where does that show? Well, that's from the day that you were born. Okay, that's the day from when you were born, when it really goes back to and where it's stored in the system. It is only in very recent times, that there is a realization that babies experience pain. Prior to that time, there's kind of some strange old assumption that babies and small children don't actually experience pain, or they soon forget about it. It's something, for a short period of time and they soon forget about it. Well, they don't. Babies don't forget pain. Their bodies do not forget pain, and they experience it, and they experience it in quite a sharp way. So it's only in very recent times that that is actually acknowledged and realized to be the truth. Their undeveloped system, their open system, because that's really what it is. When a young baby and a baby's born, that's what it is. It's an open system. It's something that's ready to absorb information from its environment. They're open neurological pathways. What's that? They're open brain pathways. And they're open endocrine system. The part of you that balances everything. That's all open right at the beginning. And that is accessible from before a baby is even born. Okay, so before it even comes into the world, all of those pathways are accessible. The very thing that makes you unique, your sensitivity, was developed in the womb. Okay, and it was developed in the womb because that level of sensitivity was a response to maternal stress. Okay, meaning that at some stage or another during your mother's pregnancy, she went through a period of stress. And that stress was passed on into your own system. Hence the reason why your system decided to make you much more aware, much more likely to notice and absorb information that could feel as though it's something that you need to be alert to or aware of. Okay, so your system became locked in to a higher state of alertness. Now, that's great in one sense because it's extremely helpful. But on the other side, it is something that keeps us locked in an aspect of something that is time, and it's now time to release. So the moment of birth brings with it, brings with you out into the world, that moment of birth coming into this world, brings with you a trust or a mistrust in the world, depending on what the information is. And during that pre-birth and that birth experience as you came into this world, not in your head space, of course. It's not something that you think, oh yes, I remember that. I remember the day I was born. Of course you don't. your body, your whole nervous system remembers all of that information. It was open. It's an open sponge. Everyone's is an open sponge right at that point of coming into this world. So the core toxic shame is perhaps that your point of creation, your entry into this world, felt emotionally unsafe. And it's associated with disappointment. Okay, so when that happens, when your core toxic shame is that you feel emotionally unsafe, and that was there from right at the beginning, and then perhaps it's been added to during your lifetime, but it's there as the core point right at the beginning, and it's associated with disappointment, as in everything is geared towards a feeling of disappointment, stress, and or pain, that before you even got into this world, before you even got here, before you even properly got into this world, you already felt alienated and separated. And certainly that's how it will affect you as a sensitive. If it's been something that feeling of alienation or separation has followed you through your life, it's a weird feeling, sort of at the back of your mind feeling, and you think, well, where does that come from? What's that got to do with anything? And why do I need to keep it? You don't. But it's been there as part of that core. Okay, so what if that core was there at the moment of which you came into this world? Shame is thought to be the master emotion. It's actually thought to be the master emotion. Okay. Beginning to have it in a manageable position means you can start to allow life to go your way. Because the core of who you are, can then absolutely start to trust. Toxic shame relies on secrecy. If you think about how it's passed through the generations, how it's passed through families, it's the silent thing, it's the secret, it's the thing tucked away at the back. Toxic shame relies on secrecy. Secrecy from yourself, and, of course, generations. Absolutely. Generations of denial. Keep it away. Don't let anyone see it. Ooh, something terrible. Now, begin to allow yourself, okay, to feel in your body, okay, in your actual body, in the body, not in your mind, not in your head, in your body, the energy that wishes to release. Allow yourself to begin to feel it. It'll be tucked away somewhere, or it may be really quite obvious. But as I say that, something will start rattling around in some part of your own energy system. You feel it somewhere in the body. You start feeling uncomfortable, or you feel it as a tightness or a different type of feeling. But just allow yourself to begin to feel that energy that wishes to release. Okay? Not in here, in here. Okay, in your body space. The shame of your core innocence, feeling unable to trust. Let yourself right now feel that as the in your body, in your whole system, somewhere it's tucked away in there. That there is a core shame in your innocence. Okay? And it's the feeling that you're unable to trust. Just let yourself feel that, okay? That core energy that felt the world was unsafe, chaotic, and an alone place. Just let yourself feel it in there. Be in there. And you may even want to go kind of like, oh yeah, I can sort of feel that. It'll show somewhere in your system. If you can't feel it, notice your breathing, because your breathing may have gone from having some depth to it to you're holding it. You might well find that you're holding it up in your chest, and that's what it is. Your core shame is terror. terror, to feel unsafe, chaotic, that the world is unsafe, chaotic and alone. So you can't feel it in your body, but you can feel it in your breath. And it goes like that. Stops mid-flow, and everything kind of comes up here, up into the chest area, or even across here, the collarbone. So just allow yourself to feel what that core feeling is, okay? And let that energy, in whatever form it shows itself, okay, whatever form it is that's flowing around right now that you can kind of feel or really feel, to begin to pass through the body. Just let it kind of, instead of what we tend to do is, as soon as we start to feel this kind of thing in terms of our core shame, we let some of it go and then we go and then it's not allowed its full flow through, and it gets stuck and it goes down, comes up, goes down, comes up. Okay, so just let yourself feel the possibility of that energy floating around. Okay, and start to feel that you can allow it to pass through the body. So that just feel it moving, passing through the body. Not to trap itself in there, but actually to find its way out. Just allow yourself to feel its movement through. How do you do that? Well, you keep with it. Rather than try and push it, which is what we do in terms of a core shame, we try to push it away, push it down, and therefore it can't release. So in acknowledging it, seeing it, allowing it to stay with you, it starts to find its way out. Just let yourself do that now. And notice, because there will be a point where you go, and you want to shut it down, go like that, and there'll be something. Okay, just try, do your best to keep with it and allow it to move through. Because behind that energy, okay, is your authentic self. Behind that is your authentic self. And its journey to you, that authentic self, is not a perfect one. It's not perfect. But the acknowledgement of it, of its presence, is the beginning of that journey. Okay, it's the beginning of the journey for it to be able to come through and for it to really be the master energy in your life experience. Okay? So it's about that journey of it coming up, but it's also about that journey of the release of toxic shame. As you allow that energy to come out, toxic shame to move off, and the authentic self to come through, you'll see difficult people start to leave your life, or where they have a minimal influence over your well-being. You'll also see a way out of situations where there's been emotional isolation, and you'll find yourself moving towards people who create connection. Okay? Why? And is it some kind of magical power? No. Because your energy, the core of who you are, begins to change. If you haven't got the toxic shame for somebody else to utilize, to poke at, they get bored, they move off. Because if you don't have it, they can't protect their own. They can't hide their own. Because you're just who you are. There's nothing to poke at, there's nothing to product. So they leave you alone, they move off. Or you don't need it provoked in you. So you just accept them, or whatever they are about. It's just that's the way it is. It doesn't then impact you, it doesn't affect you. And yeah, absolutely, you start to see your way out of a feeling of emotional isolation, because toxic shame houses emotional isolation. Okay, and you find yourself moving towards people who create genuine connection, not where you're having to decide, can I trust, can I not trust? It's just natural. It starts to be where they offer that kind of feel of genuine connection. And you'll also start to see the weight in its different forms, the weight, but also the weight begin to disappear. And you'll start to feel hope where there has been hopelessness. And you'll start to see how you can create rather than adhere to toxic obedience. And those of you who have experienced that, where you have obeyed the rules of a toxic, obeyed the rules of a toxic obedience, you'll know what I mean. You've been obedient to something that's toxic. I'm not promising that all of that will happen at once, but it does happen, okay? It does happen. Doesn't necessarily, certainly not promising that it happens all at once, but it does happen, okay? All of that changes and all of that moves. As an example, that's why you're a circle member, okay? That's why you do it. That's why you're a circle member. It supports that process of releasing the effects of toxic shame. That's why you're involved within that. That's why you're part of it, because it supports, the circle supports that process. It provides you with an oasis, okay, in what's previously felt to your inner world like an emotional desert. It's a safe zone, very much a safe zone, to begin your access to the deeper part of the self, through providing you with a level of emotional protection, perhaps that you've never had. So now that you've entered that emotional space of release, take yourself to the meditation, and the meditation is releasing the core toxic shame. Do it now, before you get lost in the shuffle of life. There's always a reason why not to, and reason to do something else. So do it now before you get lost in that shuffle of life. It won't take you long. It's transformative, okay? And you will feel different. You will feel significantly different. So until next time, bye for now.